Now let's get into the work. By the end of this video, you'll be able to understand how to answer the question, how is dark work tied to identity? Now, my work is in identity, who you are when you are not thinking about who you are. And most people don't grasp fully what that means, and that's okay. I'm not expecting everybody to go to be a full expert on identity, but I want to give you a working concept and really understand the depths of how it's the most incredibly important part of who we are. See, we talk about mindset a lot in this world, and everybody talks about the mindset of how you function. The truth is, those that have the best, we'll call it identities from a distance watching them, they don't talk about their mindset too often. They'll say, I have a mindset like this, but really it's just them embodying who they are. And we describe a lot of what they do as them having a strong mindset. For example, people love the Kobe mentality, right? The Kobe Mamba mentality and that mindset. And if you think about it, he just says things like, I don't negotiate with myself. I made a contract, this is what I'm doing, there's no negotiations. We describe that as a mindset. He didn't say my mindset was that I won't negotiate, right? So I tell you this in a sense of understanding, it's your identity. When you elevate who you are, you just function that way. There's no question about it. When I played professional football, it was a way that I functioned. I wasn't thinking about my mindset, I was just thinking this is who I am and what I do. And I would defend that in many ways with my identity and my ego, which we'll talk a little bit more about here. Now, I want you to start thinking about taking the concept I'm about to teach you and really tying into the understanding of the work we're about to do. So as we dive into this, it's not gonna be me just kind of rattling things off. I want you to really take a moment to breathe this in. This will be probably the most thinking you do in terms of understanding, but conceptually think of it like this. You are in a place that you don't want to be. Maybe you have a decent life. We're not saying your life is horrible by any means, but you want more, right? We all want more of something in life. With that more, you have to realize we're in a certain place, and I do not believe you can have a dream or a life above your current identity. If you don't have the habits and actions and patterns necessary to have that life, you don't get that life. So we're here today to elevate that. And as we think through this, I want you to grasp the process of what we're going to do is go from where I'm at and a place I want to be. We'll call it the top of the mountain, right? And if it's at the top of the mountains at some high level place you want to be, well, think of it like this. You got to go from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain. How do we get there? We need a vehicle. The vehicle that you will use to get to the top of the mountain, which is your shifted identity, is dark work. Now, when I say shifted identity, what I mean by this is I don't want to change who you are. I want to get to the core of who you are and shift small pieces of it. Shift the way that you see things, shift the way you perceive and focus, shift the way that you function discipline-wise, execution-wise. We make these small shifts, they change your life experience long-term. I don't want them to be things you do for a little bit of time and they all of a sudden fall back apart. You go back to square one. I want it to be things that are enduring. It becomes now who you are in the long run. Now, our work is going to be geared on understanding that dark work is the vehicle to get there. But I want to give you a working understanding of your identity as it is now and really what we're going to be doing to shift that, what it looks like. So as I go to my iPad here, I want you to take a look at this simple diagram. Now, this is what I call a dominator's identity. Now, when we look at these are the components of what makes up any identity. The center point's the identity you're choosing to go after. Now, right now, when I unpack these, you'll notice you already have a sense of identity in place. These are the components that factor in to create your identity. These are the working blocks, we'll call it the Legos that build together. So the first part of this is your internal beliefs. What do you believe is possible? What do you believe you can do? What do you believe you cannot do? The limiting beliefs that hold you back from certain places. You've heard of the concept of shadow work, right? Shadow work is the work you do to find out what's going on in the background. Dark work is what you do once you know, the things you build towards. And your beliefs are a heavy piece of this. They're the things that function almost without you thinking about them. They're instinctual. You believe what's possible, what's not possible without even processing it at a conscious level sometimes. So your beliefs are part of your identity. The next part that's a critical piece is going to be your active thoughts. Now, conscious thoughts and subconscious thoughts both play a role here. But think of it like this. If you believe something is possible and you think it's impossible, it's going to be an incongruence. We're going to talk about the third one in a minute, is the overlap. But say you believe something is like, I can probably do that, but your thoughts go, well, can you? Well, no, you can't. But no, I feel like I really could. But your thoughts go, but you've never done it before. You're an imposter, right? The thoughts become offsetting, but imagine if your thoughts and beliefs align. If you believe you can be the best in the world and you think it every day, I can do this, your thoughts are locked in, which allows you to have a great mindset. See, I think beliefs and thoughts we fail to comprehend. When those two are aligned, they have us have an amazing mindset. I can move forward and do whatever I want to do. But if I have a belief that's opposite of my thought, or let's go from saying maybe I don't have a belief, but I think I can. I have what's called cognitive dissonance. I'm at odds internal. Like, and I can't really see if I can or lean in, and so we don't take these bold steps. Our mindset, which is us in action, is weak. So the idea is I want to align your beliefs with your thoughts, and both of these need proof. I can't wake up one day and go, I'm amazing, right? You need proof. You got to work towards something. Our job in the dark work realm is to do the work to create the proof of how amazing you are. So your beliefs are locked in and your thoughts are also in line, which allows you to have a strong mindset. Now, another piece when it comes to beliefs and thoughts that really ties it together is going to be the actions you take. What do you do? How do you flow? And I'm talking for now the bold actions, the big steps, the going out of your comfort zone, that next thing you've ever done before you finally go and do. The action that someone looks at you and goes, I never thought you'd do that, but you got it done. That big action. Now, you may not have an amazing, outcome just yet. We'll talk about that in our next kind of staging here, but I want you to think about this as the functioning working components, and your actions play into your current identity every single day. Do you act in accordance with the identity you want to have, your dominator's identity? Now, where these two overlap, I have found that this is where habits live. I think I should do it. Am I acting on it consistently? Do I get up in the morning? Do I follow through in this process? Do I go to sleep on time? Do I not drink that? Do I not eat that? Do I eat that? Do I eat that? Do I work out at certain times? Do I not work out? These little pieces that tie in. Am I patient? Am I forgiving? Am I loving? Am I compassionate? Am I empathetic? Do I grind? Do I have grit, right? The habits that you have are based on the thoughts of what you believe you should do and the actions you take in a consistent manner. Now, one, which is this last one that I believe might be the most incredibly important one we don't actually pay attention to, is where your beliefs and your actions overlap. If you believe you should do it, and you act in accordance. And if you do, your ego is amazing. Now, most people think ego is a negative thing. Oh, your ego's, get this big ego, it's bad. No, it's not. Your ego is the protector of your current identity. Now, think of it this way. When I played professional football, my ego said, I want to be the best out here. So it protected me, my identity, with actions. I would wake up, I'd work out, I'd recover, I'd eat properly, I'd sleep properly, I'd study the playbook, I'd practice hard, because my actions had to align to protect my identity. That was my ego. Now, the hard part is sometimes our ego protects unnecessary parts of our identity, the bad, not so good, not so serving parts of our identities. But no matter what, it protects the current identity. So our job is to go, we believe we should do this. Am I acting in a way to get that done? And if you do act, it bolsters your ego. But if you believe you should do something and you don't do it, you fall short, you have regret, your ego gets smaller. Your ego feels less than. You feel not as powerful, not as confident. You don't have that dominator's identity. But when you do, when you align it, your ego bolsters. And now what happens, it protects that sense of self. I am the greatest at this. Or you're not so good at this. Why even try? Don't sacrifice. Every time you did in the past, you failed. Right? Those are the parts of us we have to think about. So I want you to conceptually understand this is how your identity functions now. You have the beliefs, thoughts, and actions all merged together to create your identity. Now, while this is a structural understanding of what the identity is comprised of, I want to now talk about how it functions in real time. Now, this is a little bit different because in this spacing here, what I want you to think of is this is how your identity flows actively. Meaning in fluid flow, every day, this is how your brain is thinking and functioning consciously and subconsciously. Now, we talked about, again, the other diagram we went over, that is the components that make up your identity. This is the process of your identity in action every day. So here we have what's called your identity, you and your beliefs of who you are right now. If I asked you, who are you? You describe ways that you identify. Strong, not so strong, capable, incapable. You'd identify as a certain person or in certain strengths that you have. Now, this identity leads to a concept we've talked about already, which is going to be your internal beliefs. What do you believe is possible? Now, if you identify as being stupid and broke and poor, not capable, well, then your beliefs are, I can't do much. Life's going to be hard. I can't get these things done. When you believe that, it actually leads to your thoughts in a position of going, yeah, you're right, I can't do this. And our thoughts, they run us, right? So if I have this identity in place, which leads to the beliefs I have of what's possible, the thoughts that come from that are ones that are weaker. Subconscious and conscious. You don't think you're capable of doing a whole lot of things. And then what this leads to is a set of emotions. the emotions that live in us every day. And we look at certain situations and go, I'd love to have that house, love to have that car, love to have that kind of love to be in better shape and have that kind of body and health and capabilities. Right? We look at that and we don't identify with that. We don't believe it's possible for us. Our thoughts go, you can't do this. Our emotions go, I can't. Now, what's interesting is these emotions fuel one of the most important parts of who we are and how we function and what we get out of life, which is our actions and habits. How you feel is what leads to the actions and habits you have. If you feel amazing today, you take bold, powerful actions and you have amazing habits. If you don't feel so good today, sometimes you don't. And you just look at your life unfolding and falling short of your potential. The idea is, even if you have amazing habits, how do we elevate those habits? How do we make you a different leveled person because you upgrade the actions you take boldly and the habits you have in place? When these things move smoothly, here's what takes place. You, no matter what happens, you get outcomes in your life. These outcomes are going to be the results of the actions and habits you have. They could be great if you've had great emotions, right? Or if you've had great thoughts, beliefs, have a strong identity. The outcomes seem to be great for you almost all the time. People think you have a Midas touch. You touch everything, it turns to gold, right? But also the opposite's true. If you don't believe you can do much, you don't think you have it in you, your emotions go, you can't do it, your actions are lackluster or less than, not full. So the outcomes, not that great. Now, whatever the outcomes are, they give you a different piece of feedback. This feedback is your environment. The environment internal, how you feel about yourself, also what you see in your life. If you have this lackluster effort, well, you may see less than optimal living standards. You don't have the house, the car, the home, the health. You don't have the things you want. But if you do have that high level, you'll see the things in your life that represent how you feel about yourself internally from the external things you've created for yourself. Now, we can't always tie the material to the sense of self, because we do know some people have a lot of material, but they're so rich that all they have is money. Right? But I'm not saying that as 100%. It's not across the board a sweep. Some people, a lot of people, have accomplished great things and feel great about themselves. What happens is the environment in which you live in internally and what you see, it re-anchors to your identity. You see this and go, that's who I am. There's proof. Look, here's the proof of who I am. You can identify with the outcomes you have. Now, a lot of folks go, my identity is not that strong. I'm not feeling that great, right? My beliefs are limited. My thoughts aren't that great. My emotions feel less than. I'm not getting a lot of it. Like, how do I change this? This is why we're here. Because the truth is, you're going to be in this loop very actively over the next few months. And how this works is very powerful, but very simple. The idea is, I can't automatically change your environment. I can put you in a new house, but you know it's not your house. I can try to adjust your identity, but you have no proof to adjust it. Your beliefs can change, but the identity is still in line with what it was. So why would the beliefs change? The thoughts are tied to the beliefs lead to actions or the emotions. But here's a beautiful space. The beautiful space is the separation between emotions and actions. See, in that little space right there, you are able to do something actionably at a bold level, regardless of how you feel. You've taken in your life sometimes a scary first step. You go, I don't know if I can do it, but you did it and you got this amazing outcome. Wow, look at this cool new life, right? But the truth is, we sometimes do that, but don't all times do that. And that is where the golden space lives. See, that is your dark work. That is where you make an identity shift, because you will take actions in the direction of an identity that you don't have just yet. You won't feel like that person. You won't identify as that person, but the action you take is the action that person would take regardless of the emotion behind it right now. It's a bold, unconfident action, I call it. But that action creates an outcome. If you take it bold, whether you feel like it or not, if you take that bold action and you get this cool outcome, you go, ooh, I got this cool outcome, right? My environment's changed. I have something more. I feel like something more. Now what I do is I adjust a little bit of that identity. Right, I take a look back and go, I have different proof. I can shift this identity. The identity gets a little bit of a shift. I have a little bit better beliefs and my thoughts flow a little bit smoother. And then I have this different sense of emotion. I take bolder actions, have better habits, a better outcome, a better environment, a higher level identity, and we roll and we roll and we roll. Now you're going to be faced with the difficulty in that space between emotions and actions, because what you'll be tasked to do will not feel like you at first. It won't seem like it's who you are to do it. But the more you do it in the dark, without having a bunch of people cheering you on and celebration every day, but you know you did it and you feel strong about it, when this comes to fruition, you will find that over time, this wheel spins in a whole different direction. You wake up with this sense of self and identity that's well beyond what it is right now. You got these beliefs that just you can't shake of how great life can be. The thoughts flow positively. The emotion in you is welled up in a great emotional power and positivity. Your actions and habits are bolder than you've ever seen yourself do before. The outcomes come faster and more frequently, and they're beautiful and they're amazing. The environment you live in raises and elevates, and inside you feel like somebody better. You have a mentality of, I have done too much work in the dark to lose in the light. And that's the work we're going to do. I'm excited that you understand this now. If you take this and embrace this, understand this, and really apply it to your life, you're going to find that our journey is going to be much smoother than it could be. Now, I'm not saying understand this is going to be the change for all, but understanding it will allow you in the harder moments you're about to face. It'll help you understand why you're doing this. It's not just to achieve something. Like the money, the achievement, that's not going to be the thing that changes you. Really, the change is going to be who you become to accomplish that. Remember I said, you cannot attain or sustain a goal above your current identity. You can attain it if you shift your identity. You will not sustain it if you don't. But this work we do will shift it to where you can attain and sustain, because it's no longer something you didn't achieve. You're the kind of person who achieves at that level. So take this information, breathe it in, and get ready for the following work.